Good afternoon. Welcome to Expansion of Consciousness. I'm your host, Jason Medlock, and tonight's topic will be how to live a spiritually focused life while at the same time being driven. How do we live a spiritually focused life at the same time being driven? And I want to bring in my co-host, Tereska Harrison, and we're going to ask you right now, how you doing, Tereska?
Hey, how are you doing? How's
Good, good.
everybody?
You're back. You're back. We started the show last week, and I knew that you had other plans, but that you would be joining um, uh, the set and
Yes,
getting back
yes.
into the tune of things. So,
Yeah.
how's the break been?
It's been wonderful. I had a lot. I've been busy and just doing a lot of things I'm trying to do. But I always like to come in and talk on spirituality. So that's one of my favorites, my faves. So
So,
I'm
so,
glad to be
so,
here.
so, being spiritually driven
Mm-hmm.
and have a focused life.
Mm-hmm.
Being spiritually driven and have a focused life. And when we talked about this topic, it was we knew that that could take us, that could be two shows, because we have so
Yeah.
much information
Yeah.
on how to um, be spiritually driven and focused in your life.
Right.
But I know that we're going to talk about three topics tonight, and we're going
Mm-hmm.
to be on here a short time, but we talked about making sure that we were more informative and we're teaching more each and every time we take this the airwaves to share with our audience.
Right. And that is so true. And I'm more focused and on the basics. And I'm a realist, and my a real not a realist, but I'm a realizer. So what I do is realize certain things, and I like the fact that I can come from the basics and then grow into, you know, teachings and different levels of growth. There's different sections and levels of growth that we must go through. It's hard to just jump from one thing to the next.
Right.
And you are highly educated in this area, and I wanted to be able to speak to people that are uh, in, not as intelligent in this area, or just you don't have the information that they need in this area. So I want to kind of speak to those people that are the baby ones, the baby growers into the spirituality, who have baby spirits, and are the toddlers in the spirit, so they can
So
find ways to move forward in spirituality and growth.
so let's get down to it.
Yeah.
The first topic we're going to be covering tonight is when we talk about boosting your spirituality
Hmm.
and being focused and driven, and how to merge that into your life. The first thing we you and I discussed was boost your spiritual health, boosting your spiritual health. I'm gonna let you have it. That
Well, some of the three little things I would have that I would say to start off to boost your spiritual health is to keep a journal.
hmm
Because of the one of the main things to strengthen your spirituality is having mental clarity.
mm
And when you're able to put things down and write down your thoughts and emotions and things that you're going through, you are able to read back. It gives you mental clarity, and it helps you kind of give you more insight in how you can progress into being into knowing how your spirit, how your emotions are intertwined with your spirit. You know, so it's a good thing to do have mental clarity and journal things all the time, and just journal what you're thinking, journal what you're feeling, and what you're going through. That also connects you with your inner self.
And the same can be said as the a similar concept when you're studying for in academia. Writing
Hmm.
down, taking notes, handwritten versus listening to a teacher
Right.
lecture. There are two
Exactly.
different ways you can learn. So most people prefer to write down and take notes instead of read it from an ebook or read it from a audio. So
Hmm.
I think that that has a lot of validity when you talk about journaling
Yeah.
all of your feelings
Right,
about
because
what's taking place.
it's coming out of you. What you're writing down is you. What you're doing is summarizing what you've brought in, and it's coming out of you.
hmm
So, and the whole key to spirituality is connecting with your inner self, or it's connecting with you, and it's connecting with God, right? To the some would say universe. Is connecting with the outer world.
Absolutely.
So, the second thing I would say would be to spend time in nature.
Mm.
Wouldn't you agree with that?
I would agree with that, and I know that probably one of your suggestions would be to hug a tree.
Yeah, I mean, you grounded because nature grounds you. I mean,
Yes,
and what we're connected, believe it or not, we're connected. You know, everything's living, and if you can connect yourself to the grass or the tree, and just allow yourself to let go and relax into the nature, you get peace. You can slip away into a type of balance. You can balance your state of being just by standing in and sitting still in nature.
and
It,
and a lot of people really get a huge connection by being by the water,
mm-hmm.
being by the beach.
I'm
And
one.
I've have and I know you're one, but I've have several people who have told me that whenever I can get by the water, I can focus, I can concentrate, I can learn the best. They're able to do more things because of the what the nature gives them back.
Mm-hmm.
Just being around
Yes,
masses of water, and that's interesting.
exactly. It is. So, and the water, I mean, just the sound of it. Isn't it amazing that if it rains, people can tend to relax and really are able to go to sleep better if they hear rain. The sound of water is
Yes,
very calming.
yeah.
And so all of that is connected to our spirit being. And if we and it helps us focus, and the key here is getting clarity so we can hone in on our inner peace and our inner self, because we cannot move forward in chaos or
Mhm.
when we're struggling and there are mishaps that are going on. We can't move forward with that. So it's always good to spend time in nature just to ground yourself and to balance your state of being.
And Carrie Fleming is a guest. She says absolutely, but sun gazing. She wants you to know that that's another way to um, boost your
Just
spiritual health.
out in the sun. I mean, you're out in nature, and it's funny that I do that as well because I like sitting and I like the sun at the right time of the day. Let's just say that it has to be the right time of day when the sun is not damaging. But early in the morning, the sunrise, I love to sit in the sun and allow it to. It's healing. It's healing. They have a lot of healing properties. So those who are interested in that, you should definitely look that up when it tells you about the sun.
Wow.
The other thing is meditate.
Okay.
What would you say about that, Jason?
Boosting your spiritual health.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, meditation boosts your spiritual health. It definitely can help reduce your blood pressure. It
Mm-hmm.
can bring down levels of stress.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation can also help you gain a ton of awareness about who you are
Mm-hmm.
within. It can also help you be a money magnet. It can help
Yes.
you lose weight. And
Yeah.
when I give you all these things, and you say, "Well, Jason, you named a whole lot of stuff, but how do you do it?" Well, the way you do it is to consistently practice every single day. Start for 5 minutes. Start for 10 minutes
Mm-hmm.
and try your best to focus on some sort of sound, some sort of word that you've made up, and that you can keep continuing saying this word over and over, or listening to a binaural beat or some sort of uh, 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 frequency music that gives you healing. Focus on that strand of sound, or your own mantra, and until you can feel your body moving into a comfortable place. Now, once you've gotten there, you may notice that you may nod off, or you may feel your body jolt a little bit. That's because you're releasing some type of stress, or something is releasing from you that is something that you're carrying. So that's a benefit to using meditation. When you can learn how to use it properly, the benefits can be very beneficial to you, and
Absolutely.
help you in healing. you know
Absolutely.
and,
Absolutely.
so before we move on to your second point, also boosting your spiritual health also means watch out the kind of foods that you eat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, and I know that you're going to probably talk about this a little later, but red meats in particular, pork in particular,
Yeah.
because of the way these animals are slaughtered, we have to recognize that spiritual health, if you consume cells or dead meat that's been processed and cooked, but that still has trauma from being slaughtered, then chances are you're consuming this same trauma, this fear, this hurt, this anger into your body, and
Mhm.
that's not the most healthy. So,
Yeah.
and I know that we
Cells
all
have
have a
memory.
fascination with meat, but
Yeah.
we do need to understand that in some cases, meat undermines our spiritual health.
Right. And it kind of lowers your vibrations and it lowers your whole emotional being. You get sluggish and you get sleepy and all that kind of thing. So you want to really focus on eating living food at all times.
Right,
There's living food, there's living, fruits are living foods and vegetables are all living foods. So we really want to focus on eating those things.
right, right. And when we going into the second part of spiritually driven and focused life,
Hmm.
um, talk about things to do to become more spiritual.
And for 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 the basics things, we just have to do with the basics because everyday life, let's look at the everyday living person, the things that they deal with every day. And one of the things that I feel that we should discuss is forgiveness. You got to learn to forgive. So for me, forgiveness builds a wall between you and God.
Okay.
That's what unforgiveness does. It builds a wall between you and God. So it's so important to forgive, because if you go through that unforgiveness, then you're stuck. You're stalled. Your spirit's stalled, and you feel almost stagnant. It's a stagnant feeling when you're walking in unforgiveness, and you really can't move forward until you have really dealt with that. So if you're into a person who wants to become more spiritual, forgive. That's
And,
important.
and I can see that. Yeah.
That's very important. Next thing for me, and it's quite interesting. So people are like, "What? Always be truthful." Let's talk about truth. I wrote something down. One of the things that God says that I am the way, the truth, and the life.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Okay, honesty is a very is at the very heart of a spiritual at our spiritual growth. Being honest is at the very heart of our spiritual growth and our spiritual gifts. So it's so important that we really focus and live life in truth, because when you're connected with your inner spirit, your inner self, you're gonna contrast with it. It's gonna cause you to act. You're gonna have some issues with. You're gonna have struggles in life because when you don't deal with your truth.
Right.
And it's so important because that's something that's very close. That's something that I feel is very close to God. It's all synonymous in how He flows.
Right.
Everything is in spirit and in truth.
You
So,
know, I mean, the second point was things to do to become more spiritual, and I
mhm,
was thinking also meditate more. And speak and look at everything. I'm talking about everything you see in life is
mhm,
living, and
mhm,
we have to recognize that energy is all around us. And you're
correct.
trying to increase and become more spiritual, then you must recognize that all things are living. The
Right.
bedroom furniture set, the barbecue pit in the backyard, it's made of energy. If you take a microscope and you magnify the metal on that barbecue pit, millions of times,
Right.
you'll see atoms, you'll see particles moving at a fast rate because it's all energy and it's living. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
yes.
So, and connecting to that, we're moving to my third point in that area is really creating a gratitude journal. So, in order to realize that everything's living, and it's good that you realize that everything's living. Now you would have to need to have an emotional attachment with that. And what does that mean for you as a person that's wanting to become more spiritual? So, being grateful for all things,
Mm,
you know, being, build, build, to be grateful and doing a great gratitude journal will build mental resilience. It allows you to receive, different obstacles and hardships in a more positive way. So when you're able to do your gratitude journal, you realize that you're going through the hardships you go through and the struggles you go through is only for your growth. It's for your good.
And I can see how doing a gratitude journal builds your spirituality. Because you're tracking the things in your life that you are grateful for, and a person that shows grace and shows gratitude and shows love and shows care and shows respect, we don't really realize it, but it's automatically raising your vibration, automatically moves your frequency up that much higher, and allows you the ability to connect with a higher, with oneness, which is God, even more, even in your manifestations, even in your the different types of law of attraction techniques you may be using. All of it works hand in hand.
That's so true. That absolutely works hand in hand. And then when you're able to appreciate, it's so hard. It's easy to be grateful when everything's going your way.
Yes.
But when things are not going your way, you have to have a mechanism of understanding that, to perceive the obstacles and hardships as a way of improving you. And if you can really shift your your mind and get into a resilient pattern of understanding that all things happen for the good of those who love, God, or all things happen for the good, period. All things are happening for the good of you. All things are happening for the growth of you. All things are happening. You know what I mean? That's, if you get your mind into that state, then you're able to bounce back faster when you're dealing with obstacles and hardships.
Well, and I also want to piggyback, things to do to become more spiritual. Think of yourself as a spirit. Think of yourself as being made of light and sound.
That's
the more you think of yourself as a spirit and as a energy being, the more ways you are, pulling yourself into becoming that much more spirituality. And then also I had speak to your spirit guides more often. And some of us out here we don't realize that we have spirit guides. But if you take the time and you sit in your quiet space after you've done a meditation, and at some point when you've gotten yourself to a level of peace, start to speak to your spirit guides. You'll be surprised at the answers that you'll get back.
Absolutely. You'd be surprised, huh?
You'd be surprised. I mean, becoming more spiritual requires a number of things, and we're talking about those right now. But one of them is understanding how to get your mind in a quiet place.
Yeah.
Because everything spiritual is not what you do on the outside. Everything spiritual actually starts from the inside.
Exactly. It's all about that stillness and that calmness, and getting into a place of peace.
Yes.
And love and gratitude. I mean, it's just being appreciative, just thankful for being here on this earth. And then love. Love is so strong. I'm big on that whole word of love. Love is powerful. Yes. That's a powerful breath of as it is power that is breathed into our spirit. So that's powerful thing. That's a powerful thing as well. So we're going to move on to the next one.
This is your last point, number 3.
Yes. The last point is being spiritually focused. From how do you become spiritually focused in a distracted world? And one of the things that I would say is to create boundaries for yourself.
Okay.
For me personally, there are certain things, being an empath, there's certain things that I cannot be around or I cannot let into my spirit, because it vexes me. It makes me feel a certain way. I'm off in certain things I can't watch on TV. There's certain people, negativity that I can't be around. So you just have to create boundaries for yourself when you're trying to have a healthier spirit and be a focused person and trying to be focused in spirituality and distracting yourself from
you gotta have boundaries.
The world.
Yeah. You have to, in a distracted world, focusing on your
Exactly.
spirituality. Boundaries mean other folks that aren't focused.
Yeah,
you know, it,
that's another thing. Stay away from people that uh, well, or at least know, at least be um, prepared on how to deal with certain negativity and certain things that cross your path. And when you set boundaries, you create certain conversations, certain words that will shift the atmosphere. When you know what certain words to use, like if you're when somebody was negative, what would you say if you're around somebody negative all the time? Well,
right.
God is gonna work. It's gonna work itself out. You just keep on praying; it'll be all right. That's a way of getting out of that whole negative trail that they want to pull you down.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's one for me. And then setting your mind, for me, also setting my mind on the things above.
Is it number two?
I'm always, and through meditation and through gratitude journals and through prayer and through all those type of things, I'm always doing those exercises to keep me connected and
Mm-hmm.
to the higher things, to strengthen me, to get more understanding, to feel more connected. So I'm always striving to constantly be connected and to set my minds on the things that are not of this world,
Right.
and in order to know how to navigate in this world.
Well, when you first talked to me about things you could do to stay spiritually focused in a distracted world, one of my first things was read high vibrational material. And
Mm-hmm.
when I say high vibrational material, I mean self-help books, books that
Mm-hmm.
are focused on metaphysics, books on spirituality, books that are focused on uplifting your being. So that was one of the first things that I thought about
That's good.
was reading high end literature. And
Yeah.
the second thing, when you're trying to focus on a distracted world, and it still comes back to meditation.
Yes.
Meditation helps you in every area of your life. So we may have to use this term more than once when we're
Have
trying to
to.
describe something.
It's the most important part. It's
But when
most
you're
important.
when you're in a distracted world and you're trying to focus on on your spirituality, meditate, get to that place. Once you finish meditating and you've gotten to that peace and you come out of it, you come out of it with a mission. You come out of it unflappable. You
Mm-hmm.
come out of it understanding and knowing that I am.
That's right.
And
There you
whatever
go.
comes after that is glorious.
And there you go. There's the next thing I was gonna say is you said when you said the I am affirmations, and
Mhm.
when you can start when something in the world distracts you and drags you to another place where you don't want to be, you just come back with the word of I am, and affirmations, and even those about that are Bible, come back with the words in the word Bible to fight back against the negativity that's pulling you, the distractions of the world. I
Absolutely.
am, just declare, I am
I
whole,
am magnificent.
I am healed, I am worthy, I am, those things that will bring you back to a place of peace and a place of comfort and just in the area that you in a place of being balanced in your life.
Yes.
That's all we ever want, is to be balanced, because we're here on this earth and we're going to hear until we're called out of
You
here.
know what I thought about trying to stay focused with your spirituality in a distracted world, a
Yeah.
very distracted world.
Yeah.
One of the things I wrote down was eat clean. Eating
Yeah.
clean, if you don't know it or not, is a form of spiritual behavior.
Yes.
Eat clean,
Exercise.
and yeah, and walking, jogging.
Yeah.
We were told this several years ago that is a form of spirituality and meditation at the same time. So you can remove yourself from the busy, sometimes harsh realities of this world, of this realm, and you can do it in a few specific ways. But walking, reading, eating high vibrational foods, all those things work. All those things serve as a buffer to allow you to continue to connect and to continue to move your life in a positive way.
But let me just add one more thing, and this is all a part of meditation. But sometimes the Lord has to tell me, Tereska, when I'm in the world, He'll say, "Breathe, Tereska," and I realize that I stop breathing sometimes. I just hold my breath to just get through a certain thing, and the fact that He breathed the breath of life into us, for me, that whole thing made me realize that I need to breathe. Breathing in and out is really connecting also with your inner spirit. Knowing that's part of who you are. That's part of your who you are. That breathing part, and it's soothing and it's so cleansing to sit and just breathe. So one of the meditation exercises I do is I sit and listen to myself breathe. Close my eyes and I breathe in and I breathe out, and that's a beautiful rest for me.
Well, let's let the audience know that that's a part of meditation is following the breath.
Yeah.
Analyzing the breath.
Yeah.
The breath is so magnificent.
Yes, it is.
When you take the time to hone in on the breath going in through the nose, down through the torso, feeling the entire body.
Yes.
And then out. And in that moment when you're deep off in your meditation and you're following the breath to keep you from having other thoughts creep into your mind while you're trying to keep this level of peace, they train you to follow the breath and just to feel the breath come through the nostrils. And it is amazing.
And just think about this. Think
It
about
really
you
is.
guys. Think about this, you guys. When you're doing this exercise, the breathe. Sometimes breathe out. Thank you. Sometimes breathe. Peace. Sometimes breathe out. I'm so grateful. Just when you're breathing out those things is a wonderful act, to do when you're meditating. So.
Well, as usual, we're going to have a lot of different formats, but as usual, we have a great talk. We try our best to be informative, but just so our audience knows, we're going to have a few different formats in the way that we put together and we deliver our content to you guys. We'll have 30-minute shows that are just driven on topics and driven on quick details and on how to do. We'll have our hour shows when we bring guests on that may take a little bit longer. But we'll have a variety of different ways that we push this content out to you so that you guys can, get a macro look at how to perform some of these different modalities or like Tereska presented us with tonight, how to live a focused, driven spiritual life. But Tereska, the one that I really like things to do to become more spiritual. And you talked about no, I mentioned think of yourself as a spirit. Think of yourself as energy.
Yeah, that's the first thing.
You have to envision yourself more than what you are.
That's the first thing.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
That's a beautiful.
Absolutely. So when you are in a busy world, Tereska, and we're gonna kind of wrap it up. But when you're in a busy world and you're doing everything you can to try to block this noise out, but you're not able to gain any ground. Everything you do, it just seems like it does not work. Every prayer, every method. Is there anything for that type of person who can't seem to get a grasp on, getting peace and trying to have some sort of peace within because of the hustle and bustle every day?
Well, you got to have, first of all, do you believe in the spirit? Do you believe in the higher self? Do you believe in God? Do you believe there's a higher being there? First, you got to sit and ask yourself, do you believe? First, do you believe? And if you believe, then the next step is to stop your work and sit and find out the work. The work that God gives you, the work that the universe is giving you. You have to sit in that and then trust that process is going to come to fruition. You have to sit and trust that. So be still, know. Be still and know.
I was about to say I'm not a mind reader, but I think you're saying sum that up. Be still and listen.
and help.
endless. Having said that, I'm gonna send you to the back room, Tereska. We're gonna connect in a minute, but thank you guys for joining us. We had another fabulous conversation speaking about your spirituality and how to continue to build upon it, being focused and in a busy world. And how do we do that? How do we continue to grow our relationship with God and grow it within the spiritual realm? But I'm Jason Medlock. You've been listening to Expansion of Consciousness. We're glad that you stopped by to join us today, and we hope to see you soon. And remember, follow us on YouTube, Expansion of Consciousness. Follow us on Twitter, Expansion of Consciousness. And also, if you want to look at any of the episodes, we're on Facebook, Expansion of Consciousness, or go to www.jasonmedlock.com. Thank you so much, and good night.